Strange and bizarre laws of medieval Europe. You won't believe these were real image in a world where pigs are put on trial for murder, where wearing the wrong color could get you fined, and where skipping archery practice was a punishable offense. Welcome to medieval Europe, where kings ruled by divine right, the church made the law, and superstition ran the courtroom. Today, we're diving into some of the strangest laws that actually existed during the Middle Ages. Some were bizarre, others were terrifying. All of them, very real. Chapter 1: Animal Trials in Medieval France. Animals could be tried in court. This wasn't metaphorical. Pigs, cows, dogs, even insects were prosecuted for crimes like murder, theft, and property damage. The most famous case occurred in 1386, in Falaise, Normandy. A pig was accused of killing a child. It was dressed in a waistcoat, put on trial, found guilty, and publicly hanged. The reasoning? If the animal had committed an offense against the laws of man or God, it had to face justice. Even insects weren't safe. In 1519, wine growers in France sued a group of weevils that had destroyed their crops. A defense attorney was appointed for the bugs. Chapter 2: The Archery Mandates in 13th century England. Military readiness was so important that King Edward III passed a law requiring every able-bodied man over the age of 7 to practice archery every Sunday. This law was taken seriously. Shopkeepers were forbidden to open during archery hours. Church sermons reminded men to train for war. In 1363, another law reinforced the order. All other sports are to be utterly discouraged, that the bow may be better exercised. Failure to comply could result in fines, and in some towns, beatings. Some versions of this law remained on the books well into the 20th century, though rarely enforced. Chapter 3: The Assize of Bread and Ale. The 1266 Assize of Bread and Ale was one of the earliest forms of consumer protection law. It regulated the price, weight, and quality of bread and beer, to staples of medieval life. Bakers who cheated customers by underweight loaves or watered-down beer could face fines, the stocks, or lose their guild membership. Bakers were so afraid of underweight fines that they'd often throw in a free roll, giving rise to the term baker's dozen. A similar law later applied to London fishmongers, forbidding them from selling bad fish under threat of jail or public shamming capture for sumptuary laws. Sumptuary laws controlled what people wore, and they were strict. These laws were intended to preserve class divisions. In 14th century England, only nobility could wear ermine, silk, and purple. The 1363 Sumptuary Act explicitly stated that no one below the rank of knight's son could wear imported fabrics. In Florence, similar laws limited how many buttons a merchant could have on their coat. In Spain, women could be fined for wearing too much jewelry in church.
The punishment for breaking these laws: public fines, humiliation, or worse, depending on the region. Chapter 5: Sanctuary Laws. If you committed a crime in medieval England or France, your last hope might be the church. According to sanctuary law, if a criminal could reach a church and claim sanctuary, they were protected for up to 40 days. They couldn't be arrested, guards had to leave them alone. Inside the church, the accused could confess and choose between standing trial or voluntary exile. Some churches even had sanctuary knockers on their doors. If a fugitive could grab it and beg forgiveness, their life might be spared. Chapter 6: Witchcraft, Heresy, and Moral Offenses. The line between law, religion, and superstition was dangerously thin. Heresy and witchcraft were among the gravest offenses and punishable by death. In 1252, Pope Innocent IV authorized the use of torture to extract confessions. Inquisitors roamed Europe, especially in Spain and France, interrogating those accused of devil worship, using herbal remedies, or simply speaking out against the church. One woman in 15th century Germany was executed simply for owning a black cat and a cauldron. In England, moral laws extended to everything from public drunkenness to gossip. You could be whipped for adultery or branded for being a blasphemer. Chapter 7: Bans on Bathing. Bathing might seem like common hygiene, but in the late medieval period, it was seen as dangerous. Following the Black Death, many believed that water opened the pores and made the body vulnerable to disease. As a result, public bathhouses were closed by law in cities like Paris, London, and Vienna. Some laws outright banned bathing for extended periods. Ironically, this led to worse hygiene and more disease, not less. In many villages, local customs were law. That meant superstition could get you arrested. Carrying a toad, using herbs, or having a mole on your neck could mark you as a sorcerer or devil's servant. In the German town of Basel in 1474, a rooster was tried and executed for laying an egg. In Switzerland, farmers were prosecuted for bewitching cows if their livestock produced too much milk. The absurdity wasn't in the law, it was in the belief that it had to be enforced. Strange as they seem, these laws weren't random, they reflected the fears, faith, and fragile power structures of medieval society. Whether it was about order, control, or survival, every odd law told a deeper story. So next time you're annoyed by taxes or traffic laws, just remember, at least you're not being put on trial with a pig. What do you think was the strangest law? Tell us in the comments, and if you enjoyed this journey into the bizarre past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more medieval madness.